tell you a little story, and it makes me warm inside. It's about some friends growing up, and all the things they tried. I'm not talking about stable shit, there was much something more. I think it was too much dreaming, too much to hope for. One day something funny happened, but it scared the shit out of me. Their heads went different direction, and the friendship ceased to be. Said one day something funny happened, but it scared the shit out of me. Their heads went different direction, and the friendship ceased to be. Some days we look back and laugh. I'm telling you, I wanted to work. I don't like being hurt. Something not right inside, and I can't always put it aside. What can we do? What can we do? Try, 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 try. Fuck it, man. I can't get through.
Welcome. Little Minor Threat, East Coast Hardcore. For all you punk rockers, Char, SCE, Mr. The Legendary John Boston, Project, X-Mask, good to see you. We are 8 strong right now. Had a little issue with StreamYard getting this set up, but we are back. Married is a best way to serve male disposability, especially if you don't know better. Ain't that the truth? Male disposal for 300. What is marriage? You guys are loving it. All right. Well, here's the deal. I found an article, 15 painful reasons men regret marrying their wives. I'm sure most of us will understand what those reasonings are, but we'll get into it. Here's the first one. Here's what 15 million men revealed to be the painful reasons they were getting married. The first one, the love was never mutual. She never loved me. She married me because she thought it would force her to develop feelings. What a waste of time. Christian, good to see you. OCH, that's what I'm going to call Christian now. Number 2, we had different ideas about what family means. She lied to me about her family plans, about having kids, about building a family. Her definition of a family puts her mother at the top. Interesting. How many wives literally are tied to the hip with their mother or your mother-in-law? Number 3, she changed the minute she became a wife. Wow, this is the third reason. Her personality changed dramatically from the person I was dating. Interesting. Denny, good to see you, brother. Well, shout out to Mr. Denny. So she changed when she became a wife. Stereotypical changes when we got married, way less intimacy and more entitlement. Another huge change, about 8 years in the marriage with a 3-year-old kid together. I would have never have dated that person that she became. We call that the bait and switch. The bait and switch for 300 Trebek. So, number 4. She became needy and depressed. This is an interesting one. Her dad became terminally ill, just like my ex's, around the time we got married, and she never recovered after his death. Sounds like mine. Despite my best efforts to get her medicated into therapy, she gained weight and just sits around and watches Netflix. I never thought that would be a reason, but I can see that being a reason today. Bartman, good to see you, brother. Bartman in the chat. Who else we got? John says, once the kids were born, my ex went into mommy mode. They all do. Yep, that's number 3. Number 5, she wasn't the one. I regret that I married the wrong woman, that I was immature and naive and too eager to find a woman versus waiting to find the right woman. That to me is I want to have sex and I want to lock her up. That's all that means to me. Number 6, nothing made her happy. And I'm going to link this article after I'm done. She thought nothing made her happy. That's number 6. She thought buying a house with me would make her happy. It didn't. I sold it alone and at a $10,000 loss. Interesting. How many times I bought 3 houses with my ex, never made her happy. Cars, we had good vacations. That's number 6 out of 15. Number 7, she had a hardcore drug addiction. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's an interesting one. Number 8, we were too young. Okay, I can probably agree with that. I was 24 when I got married. I should have been 34 if I would have, I wouldn't have done it again. But if I got married at 34, maybe things would have been different. I'm not happy. Christian OCH's ex-girlfriend's got a baby now. It's crazy. They're all the wrong and you can't make them happy, says Char. We were too young. This one says the first time I was too young at 23, got into way too fast and didn't pump the brakes when I knew it was going off the rails. That's number 7. That's number 8. Number 9, marriage means saying goodbye to your free time. I'm married. The worst part is the loss of free time to play video games or do what I want. The second worst part was that I gave up my job to try out her family business with her father. There you go. Betty Saab in the chat. Good to see you. My ex-wife during divorce said I failed to buy her a house and did not buy her gold bangles, among other reasons to divorce, but mainly it was I failed to provide her greed. I was only able to provide need. Yep, a lot of us have been there. Rafter, good to see you, brother. I'm not happy as code for you are getting a one-way ticket to the clerk's office at probate court. I'm not happy for 300, Trebek. My main regret for me, one word, unsustainable. Well said. I couldn't afford the lifestyle my wife wanted. Number 6, I cannot make her happy, right? Number 10, we got married because she gave me an ultimatum. I gave into her ultimatum. She just wanted to get married. Didn't necessarily have to be me. A lot of women, when they feel that age coming on, time, baby rabies, it's big. Tro, good to see you in the chat. See everybody. Number 11, she used me. She drained me financially, then cheated on me. Then we tried to work it out for the kid. She just wanted to convince me to pay for her several bills with the idea that we'd be living together again. Oops, her deadbeat boyfriend already lived there and was still a thing. Jeez, that guy's a simp right there. He moved in with the ex-boyfriend. Betty Saab. Now she is struggling. Hold on. To pay the property taxes and not able to provide. Well, most struggle after. Timmy Kramer, the forever bachelor. For God's sakes, men, don't get married. Did you mention her having a feminist or 3 or 4 girlfriends, says Gerald? There you go. Good to see you, brother. I thought it was a show for the 11th. Little crazy with StreamYard today. The Mighty Mysterio from Winnipeg. Good to see you, brother. Stop kissing her ace, says Timmy. T-Tox is back. No matter how many times I've graded the former Mrs. Elbag's life, it was never enough. Always wanted the next new thing. Rafter, I am blessed. I've never been married. Many bullets dodged. Yes, you are, my friend. Anyone that does not enter into a family court is won the lottery. Women define themselves by what they don't have. Well said. Well said, Trobe. Number 12, other women. This goes with infidelity on men. Mistress management proved to be much more challenging than I anticipated. That falls to number 12. So apparently the guy was having a side show. Any guy who goes with a woman who is married is really a POS. I would agree. I would never get with the married woman. That's a great way to end up leaking in those streets. To be deleted can be a possible outcome of that. We never recovered from my mistakes. Number 13. I don't regret the marriage per se. I regret not ending it sooner. There's a long story, but basically we separated because I was an idiot. I got myself together and we got back together to try to raise our daughter. It was clear she didn't really forgive and wasn't really trying to. That's an interesting one. So the guy's admitting he was a dipshit. 14, I didn't know myself. Interesting. I don't regret it, but I wish I waited till I was at least 30 to get married, so I would have had time to discover more what I like and who I am. Okay, I can see that. Yeah. Rushing into the peace leave. Buying her food in the dead winter at the middle of night was not enough. Taking sons to school in storms and bringing them was not enough. Nothing is ever good enough, Mr. Betty. With most of the women that are married. And number 15, some men can't be tied down. The very, very short version is because it ended in divorce, but there are more complex reasons, most of them circling around the lifelong tug of war between my need for independence and my need for belonging. So it looks like 30% men are saying it was their issue, but the rest of the story, 70%, goes to the typical talking points that we have talked about for a long time. She's not happy. She wants to get married for baby rabies. You thought you could do the things that you needed to do, so forth and so forth. I will link the article after this show into the video, and you can look at your heart's desire. Today, I'm just glad Swiftie didn't win a Super Bowl, and so am I. Now watch my predictions. She will dump Mr. Kelce. Why will she jump Mr. Kelce? He played like crap. Not very good. And what's the other one? They lost. Remember, when a man loses, the woman is unattracted to that man. And a man can lose, a married man can lose if he's not working or gets hurt or something. Of my 3 marriages, LTRs, all 3 of them pressured me into marriage. Love bombed, only fell for it once when young, waited out the others. They cannot maintain their frame for very long. Yeah, that's part of the reasons, right, Trope? Rushed into marriage. There is no upside to getting married around age 18, no upside at all. Maybe 27 plus just to get life experience. The only reason a man is getting married at 18, he wants to lock up that peace leave and he thinks he's going to get it every day. Last 4 days, I volunteered at the Phoenix Open. Thousands of ladies dressed like saloon 304s. A man is insane to marry in this new society. Timmy and I will catch up later this week to hear these stories. I do like the fact that they booed her. Oh, the air is running out to her supreme God, to her supreme highness. She's, Butterface, multiple Butterface. She will ruin his life. Just watch, says Alucard. Good to see you, brother. Appreciate you being here. Jim Croce's bad Leroy Brown says, you don't mess around with the wife of the jealous man. No, no, no. You will be deleted or hurt or maimed. You stay away. And it's unfortunate. You might met some men who still date and go out and do the 3-punch waltz. They could be hanging out with a married woman. I found out, I hooked up with a gal a few years back that was married on a business trip back in Philadelphia, 2019. She said she was separated and going through a divorce, found out she was married. And I got a phone call a couple weeks later from the husband. Now they're trying to work it out, apparently. Marriage is what men want and need, not the man, but his resources and his utility. Men and women love very differently. Our needs are very little compared to what a woman needs. 98%. Only one couple has made it long-term when they got married. The others are divorced. There you go. I think back in the days, it'd probably be like, 100 years ago, you could get married at 18, 17 and be fine. But not today. Not today. She needs a new song material, blaming the dude 100% again. Yes, she does. She's going to write a song about how he dropped the ball and lost the Super Bowl, which meant he lost her heart. Watch, they're going to break up. Remember, when shit goes wrong for a man or a married man or a boyfriend or a fiance or whatever, That woman bounces. Whether he could get hurt on the job, he could lose his business, he could lose his job. She'll bounce. Travis Kelce's job is to play football. He sucked on yesterday. She got booed. It'll be interesting to watch. World away, underestimate the greed of woman. Truth is, the whole monetary system runs around woman. Without women, the whole economic system would collapse overnight. Truth. That's reality. Those 15 reasons, and there's multiple more reasons that men regret getting married. A lot of it, loss of freedom, loss of intimacy, can't make her happy, walks on eggshells. So it's legit that a guy gets a man cave. He has to escape all of the issues that he's dealing with. I've never heard any man or woman say they wish that they would have married super young, like early 20s. I just got sick from mold in my house and my ex bounced. Yep, effing crazy. They bounce. They see weakness. But when they get sick, we don't bounce. We take care of them. Gerald, the Eagles line made Kelce their biatch. Oh, I just love it. I mean, we got Men's Daily. He's in Kansas City. Brandon Trueblood's Kansas City. But I'm just glad that the Eagles, this is what I said this to my buddy. I went down about an hour, watched it with him and his wife and kids, and it was great. But my roommate from college, and I said, look, it's not about winning the Super Bowl. What the pressure on the Chiefs is the three-peat. They want to make history. And that, I think, that whole like psychology and aura of trying to win the game I think that played on them. I think it was their game to lose and they lost it. But the Eagles, man, you got to give them, those guys played, they ate their chitlins that morning, that's for sure. They played like nobody's business. Women spend like 70% of consumer spending. It's mostly just wasteful shizzle they don't need. Go to a department store with your sons and point out the man section and the woman section. 90% of that store will be geared towards women's appetites of material possessions. So many of us men have that weak protector simp pounded in us by society. Well said, T-Tox. I would have stayed if my kids got sick. She bounced on me when I did. They're all the same. I got a buddy, he's worth quite a few million. And he broke his neck and needed neck surgery. He's all good now, but it was 5-month rehabilitation and she cheated on him twice. Getting married in 2025 is literally a life-threatening risk for men. Marriage, a funeral with cake. Well said, Pete. Good to see you, brother. All the way from England, probably at 11 o'clock right now. Mochi, good to see you, brother. Saludos. I was messing with a separated wife last year. He reached back out. She would say yes. Interesting. Big World, good to see you, brother. This channel is too hardcore red pill. I better head over to Coach Corey Wayne. There you go. We just share. Look, Corey Wayne has some good tenets, but I just truly believe if you want a girlfriend, this is what I'd say. I wouldn't get married. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend living with a woman. I don't recommend having kids. But you're in Vietnam, so it's a different story. However, have separate residences, have a life, unless, everything works out. There's always an exception to the rule. So if you and your girlfriend are working out, great, go for it. Just don't bring her back to the States. And know that female nature is universal. That's all. After 8.5 years of marriage, I learned the hard truth. I can't live the rest of my 24/7 with a gal. It's hell. A lot of us have left marriage and we realize we can't do it again. I wonder why there is no Mustang Ranch for chicks. They got Chippendales in Vegas. They don't need a Mustang Ranch because any dude will simp up for them. Yep. So interesting. I mean, life is all about challenges. I mean, we wouldn't be here, a lot of us, if we hadn't gone through marriage, a divorce, custody, kids. And so we're able to share with some of these young guys of what they need to look out for. What are the red flags? What are the green flags? But take advice from some of these elders in here, such as Timmy Kramer, guys that have never gotten married, have seen their friends get married and divorce 3, 4, 5 times. Trogue, my ex-sister-in-law got with a new dude after her divorce. New dude got paralyzed in a motorcycle. She just left him too. Well, they leave out of weakness. Let's just say it's a debilitating illness or an accident. The reason they come back, they leave him, is because he can't protect them anymore. Remember, provider, if you lose your job, you can't provide, or that's how they view it. If you lose your health, you can't protect. It's a very fine, pressurized line a man has to, and most men fail. Not because we don't want to make it work. Women look at any of that as failure. Swift is going to look at Kelsey as a failure. I predict they'll break up in the next 3 to 4 months. Young men, make money and save it. Buy real estate, pay it off. Compound interest is in your future. Yes. Well said, Timmy. Great advice. Timothy from San Pedro. Good to see you, brother. Look at the 300-pounder that my simp friend married. She's 50 and he married her. Barf. And she is barf. She's gotten biggie. She's a biggin, John. Mustang is a damn nice aftermarket motorcycle seat. That's the Mustang Ranch that T-Talks like. JW, good to see you. That is the reality. So we don't hate women. We just try to understand it. If you don't understand, a woman is either a partner in terms of like let's say you're on a team and you're the goalie and you have a defender. You guys are partners in the game, right? You're a team. If you're not a team, most wives become opponents. Mine became an opponent even when we were parenting. She opposed my structure. I am too difficult. I'm too, what'd she call me? I'm a lecturer. You're too dictatorial. Well, the father should be the dictator of the house. There should be rules set. There's no sense of voting what rules you're going to follow or not. So she was my opponent when it came to disciplining and raising kids. She was my opponent when it came to saving money and building net worth. She wanted to spend it. She was an opponent when she would not be intimate at times. Am I ready to step up to the C-suite? No, too much pressure, brother. Freedom Fighter, good to see you. Mysterio says, men's problem is that the desire for sex is so great, it's hard to go without it. That's why we still seek them on some levels, of course. And we want to lock, most guys want to lock, as 5 Years of Freedom said, Wes said, we want to lock them up. We want to put a padlock on their vagina, and we're the only one with a key. And we think we're going to get it every night or the majority of the week. And usually that goes away when you get married. I tell my kids, if you can control 10 million on real estate and it goes up by 3%, that's 300K the first year. 100%. I plan to be mobile and prospecting for gold in a few years. Alucard. Go up to Alaska or Sonoma in California. Is it Sonoma or Sonora? You become their drama fix, a focal point for their own frustration and angst. It's a no-win. Well, again, you become opponents. That's what happens in marriage. At first, you think you're going to be a team. You're going to have the greatest teammate. You guys are going to build a foundation of love, happiness, family, kids, future. And what happens? You become an opponent of each other. That's the reality of marriage for the most part. Now, there is an exception to every rule, but for the most part, you will be opposed if you are the husband and the father, if you are not a teammate. If she has been raised in social media, your wife, or is constantly getting attention on social media, she will be your opponent forever. The only people that don't go on social media are the Amish. They don't have electricity. A friend of mine bought a Squier Telecaster. I was shocked how well it looked and played. Interesting. Squier what color was it? John Boston, understanding money is taught. Awesome father you are. John is our go-to man of stocks and index funds. We should call a fund. They should call some guy that's red pill, that's a multi-billionaire hedge manager should call one of the funds that he should put together like post-wall. That's the PWF, post-wall fund. And it should be full of boxed wine manufacturers, pet manufacturers, stupid trinkets, whatever. It should be the PWF. I bet that would go up 20% a year. And you'd say, what do you invest in? PWF fund, the post-wall fund. What is it? Oh, it's just fun for middle-aged women that divorce and become bitter. Well, what do they buy? Oh, they buy, bad food. They typically box wine, Gallo wine, Francia wine, typically anything in the box wine world, pet foods, anything to do with dog leashes and things like that. And stupid cruises. And we do invest in a cruise line for these women. And we do have a couple of and little section in Match.com. That would be funny. The PWF. Women today are too selfish to be married, have kids, and keep a family together. A lot of them are. There would be a movie about the Amish having to fight out outer space aliens without electricity. I don't think the aliens will mess with the Amish. They're like, man, they don't have electricity. Cat food and silicone toys. That's another one. We'll put in a little bit of Adam and Eve, the Adam and Eve world. The Fleshlight. Stupid trinket should be a rock band. What about loaded diaper from a Diary of a Wimpy Kid? I bought stock in PPC. Pilgrim's Pride make Dino chicken nuggets. See, some guy, we're going to see it in my lifetime. Some hedge fund manager is going to be like, we've done the whole crypto world. There's crypto funds. There's tech funds. There's, manufacturing funds. There's, Rockstar energy drink funds. Now we're going to do the PWF fund, post-wall. And we're going to put post-wall stuff. I bet that would kick ass. Think about it. The whole Petco world of the pet industry is growing by leaps and bounds now. And it's going to get worse because now people aren't having kids. And women have that nurturing aspect about them. They buy, they want animals. Rabbits, cats, birds, dogs, fish. I bought stock in that Dino chicken nuggets. Oh, that's funny. I watched Palantir go up to 70. Now it's at 116. We'll go to 200 probably. Now that Trump's in. That could be the next NVIDIA. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with NVIDIA. With all these Chinese AI stocks that are jumping in with pennies on the dollar of investment. It's going to be interesting to see how OpenAI does. And NVIDIA and those companies. But you know what? You got in at 70, you're almost, 70% up. Good for you, brother. I've done really well with Spotify. Taylor Swift should be in that fund, her music label. Because you know what? This is what's brilliant about her. I find her not attractive at all. She writes breakup songs. She is literally the female vocalist. She's literally doing what 30 Shades of Grey, in that same genre of just the breakup or the domination. The women either love domination, like 9.5 weeks type stories, 30 Shades of Grey, or they love these breakup. All she sings about are breakups. So women love that. How do I know? The ex-wife was singing a Taylor Swift song when we were moving out, something about a breakup or an ex-boyfriend or something. Have you ever been by Area, you mean 51? I haven't. But I've seen some crazy Nevada desert. There you go. I got to check that out. I had APP stock at 37, sold it over 50. I think it's around 350 today. Damn. That red lipstick is disgusting. Now, every one of us would probably nail her, but I'd have to bag the face. I've never thought the gal was attractive at all. That red lipstick is gross too. They wash all away their tears, 5 liters at a time, buying boxes of Franzia Sangria. Ain't that the truth? Or hold on, it's red table wine. Red table wine. Or what about the blush or Chablis, the white wine? It's like the basic wine of wines. It's like right between an Ernest and James, a Bartles and James wine cooler, and like the lowest box wine, and it comes in those jugs of those glass jugs. It takes like 3 to 4 weeks to just get wine fermented, and then the good sellers will go for 2-3 years in oak barrels or whatever. Well, they just get in 3 weeks, they make it done, and they put it out there. That's why it's so cheap. And they're going to wash away their tears. 5 liters at a time. Yes. What happens to her? Does she get married and have kids? No, I doubt it. I would be very surprised if she had a kid or got married, considering her pedigree of men at this point. Now, she could have baby rabies, but do you think that she would give up all of her fame and fortune to get knocked up and have a kid? I don't know. Has the red pill ever been defeated? Well, some marriages. My brother's been married for 30 years, 31 years, 6 kids. They're in love. I don't think it's easy. Yesterday, I was with my buddy who's been married since 1995, going on 30 years. So we'll see what happens. My parents defeated the red pill. They've been married for 56 years this year. I can't bang Swift. Too many guys have been there, probably worse than banging an old washed up. And she probably lays there like a Carl's Jr. starfish. I could be wrong. But I'm sure, just her pedigree of men. I mean, wasn't she with like Orlando Bloom? She was with John Mayer, a bunch of these these teeny bop Harry Styles. Who else? Now she's with a big old football player that friggin' he didn't play very good yesterday. And I think that's going to, and then she got booed. So everybody hated on him. And so that air went out yesterday. And we'll see what happens. But remember, women don't like losers. Don't like losers. There you go, Joe Jonas. That's right. The Jonas Brothers. My kids went to the Jonas Brothers concert back in the 2010, I think 2010. What happened to the Jonas Brothers? I think the oldest one got married and had kids. I think he's out of show business now. I think they did a reunion tour. Not into him. They're just kid bop. But my kids were into him. My oldest two. They liked him. Bezos had to be the ultimate simp who married Tony Gonzalez's ex-wife. Zuck was looking at her granny schloobs. I saw that picture of him. Yes, at the inauguration, he was staring at him. What a dumbass for wearing that. Like, seriously. What is she, 57? Jeff Bezos is just goofball. He's a perpetual nerd. He's not going away. And Tony Gonzalez, man, that guy was a tight end. He could play. I think he's one of the best ones out there. Rad, do you think USAID and other NGO are corrupt? Yes. I think most organizations, most religions are corrupt. Wherever there's a lot of money, there's corruption. Zuckerberg was looking at her Silicon Valley. Love it. That would be funny if you think about it. Someone take a picture of a meme and says, Mark Zuckerberg just landed in Silicon Valley. That would be funny. Or something. Red pill isn't a philosophy. It's just reality. Delusion defeats reality. It's that simple. Live in the matrix or in reality. Your choice. Or live in fantasy or reality. The matrix is fantasy. The matrix says I can give so much love, she'll never walk. She'll give me so much love in return, we'll make it forever. And every one of us wish they got married and had kids, wish that was the case, but we realized the reality wore off very quickly, like Novocaine from a dentist. Wears off within the first 2 hours, and then it hurts. But we appreciate all of these wonderful comments of men that have gone through it. And I like reading articles of men that were married or divorced, what they regret about divorce, what they regret about marriage, what happened, how their wives changed. It seems like there's a very common theme between strangers on the internet, strangers in articles, polls that are taking that correlate to what we're saying here. Maintaining a male and female relationship is extremely challenging in 2025 and 2024 and 2023. If you can make it work, I support that. But the reality of making it work is a lot easier said than done. Oh, Rad, you're so bitter. He's hurt. He's bitter. You're mean. I won't get into relationships with women. I also won't stick my hand in a blender. Life experience. Well said. Simple as that. Nino, good to see you back. Novocaine from a dentist. When it wears off, it wears off. Nothing you can do about it. I've got 2 boys and a daughter. And my 2 boys are dealing with my I've talked about this. My 24, he'll be 24 in a month or 2. 2 months. 3 months. And he says he doesn't date. He's like, Dad, they're miserable. It's horrible. I go, why is it? He goes, oh, they're entitled. I didn't tell him that. I hardly talk about these talking points with them. I bring up certain things like, why do women always look on social media? How come they have so many orbiters? So many men simp for them. Why is that? Why do they wear weird makeup? Why do they just like don't have any substance? You know, those are the things. I don't say don't like them. Don't have a girlfriend. I say, why are they like that? Why are their moms like that too? How can they disrespect their dads? You know, certain things like that. He says, Dad, they're all entitled. I took him to my niece's wedding in August. Me and my sons went down. And well said. And me and my sons went down to see their niece get married, and she's only a year and a half older than my son. And there was a bunch of cute little girls that were her bridesmaids. I said, what do you think of those gals? Are they cute? And he's like, Dad, I do not want to get married. I'm like, you know, that's a good decision. That's a really good decision. However, you know me, I don't recommend marriage. I think it's too difficult to maintain. He says, Dad, I can't afford them. I can't afford these women today. They're entitled. They deserve everything. What do I do? I said, well, do you want to date a girl? She says, I'd like to, but I don't think about it anymore. I'm past it. It's ridiculous. So, well, there's always, you know, moving to Asia and hanging out in Vietnam or something. Maybe find a traditional, more traditional than Western, but still Western, you know, those might be your chances, or join the Amish. But he's not too worried about it. He's like, Dad, yeah, it just looks miserable. Marriage is like dentistry without anesthesia. And I've had them poke when I had a cavity and they didn't put enough medicine in, and they're like drill into my tooth and you feel it. Oh, that's the worst. And then they have to drug you up more with more Novocaine. So you got like 3 huge scabs in your gums from that huge needle that goes in. Oh, that's the worst. They've been doing the same dental procedures for so long. Can't they just make a pill that fixes it? Like you just swallow it and it takes away the cavity? Do your sons know about your channel? No, unless they found out. I've never told them. They've seen my hat, but they've never asked anything. Who knows? They might. They're smart kids. My son has seen his mother in action. That red pilled him hugely without me saying anything. Well, you know, that's very interesting, Tro, because my ex is a cold-hearted feminist liberal, and my boys are very, very conservative. They voted for Mr. T. So I sit back and laugh, and I think to myself, she is dealing with mini me's, basically. Crazy. Can't imagine. Apparently, they got in some heated discussions about Trump when Trump won. And apparently, the ex went TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. If you were widowed instead of divorced, would your views still be the same? Great question, Mr. O. Great question. I don't know. I mean, I'd be sad. Let's just say the marriage was ending. If the marriage was going really well and she died, I probably wouldn't have the knowledge that I had now going through the courts and everything. So who knows? Who knows? Or I could have stumbled. Maybe I would have stumbled across dating after divorce, or dating after, your wife died, and I might have stumbled onto channels. I don't know. It would depend how good the relationship was, but I could have fallen back into it. All right. Mr. Boston sent me a pic. I'll have to look at that in a little bit. Trogue, my daughter tells me her mom was a moron for dumping me. That makes me smile. At least you didn't say it, right? Why do you think married couples insure each other? It isn't for love. There you go. Well said, Pete. Plumpy, just want to give a quick shout out. Thanks for being here, brother. If my ex passed, I would take care of my kids and wouldn't be married again. I would date, but that's it. Yeah, probably the same thing. I mean, if she died after 20 years of marriage and I would have known what I'm getting into, sure. But it would depend on what the relationship was like. It would depend on a lot of factors. But that's a great question. My daughters took a while, but even they came around and can see their mother for who she is. With my son, it was instant. Yeah, my kids have seen it, but I don't bring it up. They've asked me. I've told my story, but I've never thrown her under the bus. I've always talked very highly of her. Usually your mother was an amazing mother when you guys were born. You know, she went through with pregnant. You know, I try to keep it high level. I don't want to bring in anything. The boys can tell what her, you know, they mention a few things here and there in the whispers, but they know. They know stability and they know instability. How about that? How many women were you with before you married? I had probably, I don't know, 10 girlfriends when I was 14 to the time I got married in 24. You know, a couple of them were a month or two, a couple of them were 6 months to a year. So not like today. Cedar City's cool, big world, but it's a lot of old farts down there. It's better. I would say it's better than St. George, a lot of recreation. There's a university there. It's off the beaten path, but it's cool. It's right before St. George, about 45 minutes. Nice little, it's growing. Windy. It's pretty windy out there, but not bad if you want that kind of slower life. My kids all come to me for things. They're 21. I don't need mom like they did as a child. Their issues are more real life and helping with college classes. Yeah, I don't think if you have kids, I mean, really bringing up what happened between you and your ex is beneficial. Let them figure it out. If they do ask questions, keep it very high level. I always say, you know, your mom and I, we grew apart, you know, and people grow apart and they have different aspirations. And as you guys get older, a lot of times mom and dads just become moms and dads. You know, it's tough to work on a marriage when you have kids because everyone's at basketball practice or Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts or church events or education events. And, you know, it's difficult to maintain what it was like before kids. So people grow apart and that's normal, right? I always tell them I've always told them, boys, I didn't get married to get divorced. I didn't want a broken family. None of us did. Unfortunately, people have their own choices and they're free to make those choices at the benefit or the detriment of relationships and families. It's as simple as that. 15 women physically, attaboy, another 20 without major physical affection, just going out, and they were more dates, not major. Yeah, that's good. I know guys that have had literally 2 girlfriends in 30 years. I think a variety is important, even meeting people and seeing what they're like. It gives you the idea of life. But the common theme is female nature and male nature. A lot of females are very similar in how they act. It's that simple. Males are very similar. I mean, we don't need much. Most males need maybe, and we're visual. We like intimacy with a woman, and we don't need a lot more. We don't care about degrees. We don't care about their accomplishments. Whereas women have very different views. They care more about protection and provision from the guy than they do love. They love him differently. Women and men do not love the same. It's just different. And we accept that. We accept it and realize, and they're also free to change their mind at any time. And so are we. But women change their mind a lot more than men change theirs. And those have impacts. Those changes have impacts on relationships. When a woman is bored or delusioned, she bounces. There's nothing you can do about it. But Brafalt's law on hypergamy is not something to get mad at. It's something to understand. So you don't get in those positions thinking the nicer you are, the more money you bring to the table, the more she's going to stick around. She might stick around for the more money, and then she can take you to the cleaners in the end and make more money. And we have to share our experiences. And we don't hate women. She's like, women are beautiful. Women are amazing in that regards. But they're not amazing to hitch your wagons to in 2025 if it's marriage, cohabitation, or kids. Telling the kids the nitty-gritty about life does not work. It's like showing the autopsies of a death. Does it really help them correct? They got to figure out certain things. Well said, Mr. Pedro. Good to see you, brother. Pedro Valentin is back. My daughter's coming by in a few to ask about building a house. They seek me out. Yep. So you're more stable, and again, my sons always reach me if it's a career decision, a life decision, an auto decision. It's just, in the end, if you're a good father and you're a good provider, and they see that value. I am loving the libs meltdown with Trump banning men and ladies sports. People are going nuts. People are going nuts. See ya, good to see you. It sure is a powwow. Absolutely. So that is the reality of life. We struggle in lots of areas as young men. We don't know a lot of this stuff. And then as we go through life, things begin to unfold. The reality of relationships, the reality of the red pill. The red pill is just not relationships. That's 20%. The red pill is about education. It's about government. It's about career decisions, financial. If you were red pilled at 19, what would your financial decisions look like? What would your education decisions look like? Most of us go to get jobs and careers to maintain a family or a specific lifestyle that involves a woman and potentially kids. But what if that wasn't on the cards anymore? What would you do different? Would you have gone the same route? I would probably just earn enough money, stacking up 10% of my income every year. So eventually I could retire very early. If I didn't have a wife or kids to maintain a huge house and cars and insurance and healthcare and blah, 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 I'd have a lot more money and a lot more freedom. So the red pill has an impact, especially on young men that have not gone our routes. I tell my kids to buy rental property. I did when I was 24, and I wish I bought 10 at that time. Good for you, John. Pedro says, you never make me feel insignificant. We're glad you're here, brother. You always say great things, all of you. I think it's still an age range of when a woman will go off the rails, like our mother's friends that are 70 plus are not going to run to divorce. It's very rare you see a 70-year-old divorce the husband. They typically, the husband dies. They typically become widows. Big World says, make choices that lead to peace, quiet, and freedom. Absolutely. Unfortunately, we're too young. We've still got vagina on the brain at that age. We want the family. We want to bring kids in the world. Especially kids of a divorced family. Some don't want to get married and have kids. Some do, and they want to, challenge what their parents did and have a successful family. You can't, I know some people that are like, yeah, my parents divorced when I was 2, and I'm never getting divorced. I'm going to raise my kids. I want kids to raise in a good family. They wanted what they didn't have. And I respect that. But they're also dealing with the reality of the Matrix. And the Matrix is real. Pete, the Matrix deliberately misleads young people away from truth and red pill facts of life. Well said. That was a perfect segue into your comment. I didn't even read your comment before that. Mysterio looks very young for his age at late 30s. Yeah, you're a year older than me, I think. I'll be 53 in August. I'm a Leo. That's another thing. Leos are pretty direct. Big World. That probably has some impact on my sales. There's a confidence issue I have with it. Probably because I'm a Leo. every Cody, if you believe in the zodiac sign, but I think I truly believe, I've read about my zodiac sign. I literally believe, and people have read it and they're like, this is exactly you. So I think there's some truth to our zodiac signs. See you later, Trug. Appreciate y'all being here and sharing your experiences. This is why we do it. Someone's got to be a catalyst to put us up and to talk about specific issues. You know, we've got to talk about life, how to impact, how to make our lives great, whether it's at 22 or 72. Those at 22 have a long life left. And they can have an amazing life if they do the right things. Invest in themselves. Investing in relationships right now doesn't really pay off. That's not a great investment. Maybe later in life, if you married an Amish gal, but a lot of relationships end in failure. Big World, what's your MBTI? I don't know what that stands for. Spell it out. Maybe I'm a Leo, good song. Played it with a 6-piece band I play with. Plays keys, not bass in this band. Oh, you play the keys. Gotcha. Right on, Mr. John Boston. I think all women want to get married. It's rare that most women under 40 won't take it. Well, a lot of them do. I mean, again, it's a status symbol to have behind your name that you're a wife or that you have a husband or that you are married. And the biggest label of all is being a bride to be and a bride on your wedding day. They love it. They love it. I am a Pisces. A Pisces could be. There you go. Do you think you're a Pisces? My ex is taking 50% of my house equity that I paid 100% for. She is also taking half of my small inheritance with the full support of the court. Yep. There you go. I mean, it happens. Mine took half. Well, she was entitled to it. That was hers. But I worked a lot for that half of hers. Well, that's how the chips fall. Half custody, half assets, and no alimony, right? If you can get out of alimony. So are you guys, is Mysterio a Pisces? Do you follow the Pisces like chain of thought or how it describes you? I am an ISTJ. Is that those emotional intelligent marker things? Lots of rock stars and actors are divorced. Yeah. Most athletes are divorced. Think about that. Marriage to women is a financial insurance scheme for them. Men are persuaded it's for love. Well said. To see Mayor back, loneliest time ever, very cruel. A lot of married men regret it. They're also very lonely. But they're putting on the facade that they're the coolest husband. That's all right. John, you have used the band name so people can check out the song. So Leo is Deep Purple. Deep Purple is a great band. Guys, it's been a great stream. I'm going to cut it off here. And I'll link the article that I just referenced earlier. And we will see you on the next one. Thanks for being here. Thanks for contributing. You guys rock. Oh, it's the Miggs Breyer, the Briggs Meyer, or the Myers Briggs. Gotcha. I don't know what mine is. Mine's ASHL, asshole. See you guys later. I'm out.